What if everything you were taught about being a good person was actually a cage? What if the praise you crave is your prison? You've spent your whole life trying to be liked, smiling when you're dying inside, nodding in rooms where truth should have been thunder, lowering your voice just to keep the peace. But let me ask you something. Where has that gotten you? Has your kindness bought you loyalty? Has your agreeableness made people respect you? Has your politeness earned you power? No, because in the real world, being liked is not the currency of strength. Fear is a Nietzsche, one of the most misunderstood philosophers in history, saw this coming. He saw the slow collapse of men into mediocrity. He saw people chasing comfort instead of greatness. And he left behind 3 brutal rules, not to help you become loved, but to help you become feared. Because when you're feared, you are no longer ignored. When you're feared, people think twice before wasting your time. When you're feared, you don't chase respect. It follows you. So let's go where few dare to go, into the mind of Nietzsche. Into the fire that forges power, into the 3 rules that will break you from being liked and build you into someone they will never forget. You've been here before, haven't you? That moment where someone talks over you and you let it slide. That job where you did twice the work and got half the credit. That relationship where you gave everything and got crumbs in return. You were told that if you just stayed nice, if you stayed humble, if you stayed the bigger person, people would see your value. But they didn't, because people don't respect what's easy to access. People don't value what doesn't demand boundaries. People don't fear what always forgives. And the truth is, deep down, you know this. You felt it, that moment when you wanted to say no, but didn't. That second when you knew they crossed the line, but stayed silent. That quiet voice inside that whispered, "This isn't right," but you ignored it. Because you wanted to be liked. You wanted to be the peacemaker, the kind one, the mature one. But here's the brutal truth. You became liked instead of respected. You became agreeable instead of powerful. You became soft instead of sovereign. But what if I told you that fear isn't a flaw? What if being feared is the foundation of being free? Friedrich Nietzsche was no stranger to isolation. Mocked, misunderstood, and mostly ignored in his lifetime, Nietzsche was a man who walked alone. But from that solitude came thunder. In works like Beyond Good and Evil, The Genealogy of Morals, and Thus Spoke Zarathustra, he dismantled everything society held sacred: morality, tradition, religion, and especially the modern obsession with being liked. He saw where humanity was heading, a future of fragile egos and soft wills, where everyone wants to be accepted, but no one wants to be powerful. Nietzsche called out this decay with unapologetic fire. He didn't want followers, he wanted individuals. He didn't preach comfort, he demanded courage. He believed the man who bends for the crowd becomes invisible, and the man who lives by his own law becomes unforgettable. He once said, "The surest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold in higher esteem those who think alike than those who think differently." In other words, fitting in is not a virtue. It is the slow death of greatness, and Nietzsche's 3 rules aren't for everyone. They're for the few willing to walk through fire, to shed the skin of approval and become untouchable. Rule 1. Detach from the herd. The first rule is simple, but savage. Detach from the herd. Why? Because the herd, whether it's your friends, your colleagues, your family, or society itself, will always try to make you one of them. And the moment you accept that, you've lost your soul. Nietzsche warned of the last man, the creature of comfort. The man who doesn't chase meaning but safety. The man who does not risk, who avoids all discomfort. Who does not offend, does not think, does not live. He just exists. Quietly. And that man, he's liked because he never threatens, because he never challenges, because he never stands up and says, "No, this is who I am." But he is not feared, and he is not free. To be feared, you must walk away from the herd. You must risk being misunderstood, mocked, even hated, and yes, it will hurt. You'll lose friendships. You'll feel alone, you'll question if it's worth it, but eventually you'll wake up, you'll realize the herd never really liked you. They liked the version of you that made them comfortable, and the moment you stopped playing along, they turned good. Let them, because when you stop trying to be liked, you become dangerous, and dangerous people get respect. If a part of you is waking up right now, if this message is hitting you in a place you usually keep buried, then don't. Let it fade. We're building something rare here, a place for thinkers, warriors, outsiders, people who are done being liked and ready to be legendary. So if this speaks to you, subscribe, comment your story, share this with someone who needs to hear it. This isn't content, it's a call to remember who you were before the world made you polite. Rule 2, speak with the violence of truth. Nietzsche didn't believe in small talk. He believed in truth, raw, cold, unfiltered. In a world addicted to politeness, he spoke like a storm. The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly. They will hate you when you grow, and they will call your truth arrogance. So what do most people do? They shrink, they stay silent. They trade honesty for harmony. But here's the secret. Harmony without truth is hell. You want to be feared? Then speak the truth, especially when your voice shakes. When someone disrespects your time, say it. When someone crosses your boundary, enforce it. When a lie becomes normal, be the one who says no. You don't need to yell, you don't need to explain. You just need to mean what you say and say what you mean. The one who is feared is the one who doesn't lie to himself. And when you speak like that, clean, bold, without apology, people will fear you, not because you're cruel, but because you remind them of what they've suppressed. Your words had become a mirror, and most people can't stand to see their own reflection. So here you are. You've stepped away from the herd. You've started speaking with the violence of truth. You're becoming someone they don't recognize, and someone they can't control. But now something unexpected happens, something Nietzsche knew would come. You don't feel powerful, you feel empty. You're feared, yes, but you're also alone. You've stopped lying, but now you feel exposed. You've stopped pleasing, but now you question your worth, because for so long your identity was built on one thing, being liked, and now that it's gone, who are you? This is the abyss Nietzsche spoke of. Not a pit of despair, but a mirror. So honest it terrifies you. He who fights with monsters should look to it that he himself does not become a monster. And when you gaze long into the abyss also gazes into you. It's here, right here, that most people go back to the herd, back to being liked, back to safety. But if you stay in this abyss, if you can hold your ground without losing your soul, you'll discover the final rule, the most powerful one of all. Rule 3. Create your own morality. This is Nietzsche's final, most feared idea. You must become your own God. No, not in arrogance, in responsibility, because when you stop living by society's rules, by their idea of good, their idea of success, their idea of kindness, you're left with a terrifying freedom. You must decide for yourself. What do you value? What do you stand for? What are your rules? Most people never ask these questions because most people don't want freedom. They want direction. They want a checklist. They want commandments. They want to be told what's right and wrong. But Nietzsche said, burn the checklist. He believed the ultimate act of power wasn't controlling others. It was creating yourself. He called this type of person the Übermensch, the overman. Not someone who dominates others, but someone who transcends himself, Someone who doesn't live by inherited morality, but by a code he forged through fire. The Übermensch isn't liked, he's respected, he's feared, because he cannot be manipulated. He's too grounded in his own truth. Let me show you how this plays out. Let's say you're in a meeting, someone cuts you off. Usually you'd laugh it off, stay polite, let them talk over you, but not this time. This time, you look them in the eye and say calmly, I wasn't finished speaking. No anger, no apology, just truth. The room freezes. People look at you differently. That moment, small as it is a fracture in the old you. Or imagine your friend keeps cancelling plans, always last minute, before you'd swallow it, just to keep the peace. But this time you text back, I value my time. If this continues, we're done. And you mean it. Suddenly, you're not the pushover. You're not the easy yes. You're a standard, a boundary, a line they can't cross, and they feel it. That shift, that fire in your chest, that's you becoming feared, not in cruelty, not in ego, but in clarity. You're no longer asking for respect, you're commanding it, silently, unapologetically. And now, here comes the flood, because when you stop living for approval, when you start honoring your truth, speaking with fire, standing alone, something sacred happens. You find yourself. Not the version others wanted, not the version that fit in, but the version you buried to survive, the child in you who used to dream without fear, the rebel who questioned everything, the warrior who said, this is who I am, take it or leave it. You remember that person, and maybe for the first time in your life, you feel whole, because being feared in Nietzsche's world is not about violence or control, it's about integrity. The integrity to walk your own path, even if no one claps. The integrity to say what needs to be said, even if it costs you everything. The integrity to become you, fully, fiercely, finally. And in a world built on masks, that kind of authenticity, it terrifies people. And that's exactly why they'll never forget you. So here we are, you're no longer the person who seeks to be liked. You're not bending, you're not apologizing, you're not shrinking. You are detaching from the herd. You are speaking the truth, even when it burns. You are building your own code, your own kingdom, brick by brick. And yes, it will be lonely. Yes, it will be hard. But it will be yours, because in Nietzsche's world, greatness isn't granted by others, it's claimed by force, by fire, by faith in yourself. So become the one who walks alone and needs no applause. Become the one who is feared, not for his cruelty, but for his clarity, not for his dominance, but for his independence, because when you become feared, not liked, you become free. And in the end, it is not love, not admiration, but freedom that makes a life worth living. If this spoke to something ancient inside you, if this awakened a truth you've buried for too long, then don't walk away from it. Subscribe, not for me, for you, because this isn't just a video. It's a signal to the ones who were never meant to fit in, to the ones who've been quiet for too long, to the ones who are ready to be feared, not liked. Comment your story. Tell me where you're drawing your line. Share this with someone whose fire has dimmed. Let's build something rare, a movement of individuals, warriors of truth, students of power, because in a world begging for approval, we choose freedom, and Nietzsche, he'd be proud of that.